Welcome students to another class of biology. And as you see, I've already written photosynthesis part 2. It's a continuation of the chapter that we have done last week. But before we start today's lesson, today's learning part, I would like to do one for 2 minutes, just for 2 minutes, one rapid fire Viva class. I'll ask you some questions. Now, like we do in the class, you have to write the answer immediately. Please have your pen and paper. And if not, you can say the word loudly also. If anyone is sitting next to you, can check your work. If you know all the answers, you are excellent. If you are not able to answer all, that means you need another revision, quick revision. Okay? So I call out the question and you listen to the question. First question, all one word answer. Process of splitting of water. First question is process of splitting of water. Second one, which substance in the leaf absorbs the light energy? Which substance absorbs the light energy? Third question, which compound is formed in between which stores the converted light energy? Fourth one, which cells bring out the water up to the leaves? Which cell brings the water up to the leaves? Fifth one, from which compound oxygen is liberated that comes out into the atmosphere? Sixth one, what are the raw materials of photosynthesis? Raw materials, you just name. Seventh one, which type of food is formed during the process? Next one, in which form food is stored? Previous one, the form in which it is formed, and the next one, in which form it is stored. So these are the 8 questions. Finish. Now no cheating. You have unwritten the answers. You will check it. If you have done all correctly, very well, excellent. If not, don't get disheartened. Need one revision and you'll be able to do it. Okay? So now we start today's part 2. Today we are going to do a very important part of continuation of this chapter. One is the internal structure of the leaf, which is very important. First we will do the internal structure of leaf. And second one we will do the distribution and the function of stomata. We'll learn about the stomata. So the previous day we have learned that the stomata are the openings present on the surface of the leaf. On the leaf surface, the stomata, the small openings through which the exchange of gases take place. You remember that? And the carbon dioxide, you know, is needed, which is taken from the atmosphere. Oxygen, which is given out to the atmosphere. Now, how they open, these openings, how they are controlled, who controls them? But before that, how they are distributed on the leaf surface, that also you have to know where are they present in the leaves. So first we'll do the internal structure and then we'll do that. Now today, after you finish the class, I'll be sending you the theory points along with the diagram that I'm doing it. So when you're going to study, check your theory point, the paper, that the answer sheet that will go to you, and the video together, you can do your studies. Clear? Okay. So let's start. This is just a section of the leaf. You have done the tissues. Remember the parenchyma tissue with the chlorophyll, they are called the chlorenchyma. So the leaf cells, they are all green. So they are parenchyma with the chlorophyll. So we can also call them as the chlorenchyma. Just a quick, I won't draw a very big diagram, just a short one. Just see how I'm drawing it. You will also have to practice the diagram. This is just a rough diagram I'm drawing. You will get the nice one along with your theory points. Very carefully observe what I am drawing. These are the plant cells, so vacuole, nucleus and the all chloroplast, the green pigments. Now, suppose this is a leaf. Suppose you have got a leaf. Now, when you cut the section of the leaf, it's absolutely paper thin. But in between, from the upper side and the lower side, between, this is the structure that we see. The outermost part of the leaf, the outermost layer of the leaf, this is called epidermis. Because it is on the upper side, this is called the upper epidermis. And this one, the ventral side of the leaf, this is called the lower epidermis. So the two surfaces, one on the upper one is upper epidermis, the one on the lower surface is the lower epidermis. It seems to us when we touch the leaf, it's so papery thin, but in between the two layers, these are the tissues present which is actually responsible for the process of photosynthesis. Now, these elongated cells, longish in structure, they're all green, they have got these chloroplasts are there. This is called the palisade tissue. Palisade. And here these chlorenchyma are loosely arranged. They're all loosely arranged with intercellular spaces. They're all green parenchymatous cells of chlorenchyma. They are called the spongy parenchyma. And together, these two together, they are called the mesophyll. Meso means in between, mesophyll tissue. So upper epidermis, lower epidermis, and in between the mesophyll tissue. Mesophyll tissue is into two parts. One is the palisade, the other one is the spongy parenchyma. Now here look at the lower epidermis. I have drawn something here in between. These kidney shapes, something like that. These are the two cells called the guard cells. Why they are called guard cells? What do the guards do? They protect, they guard. What are they guarding? They are guarding this hole in between. And this hole is actually the stomata or stoma in single we call it. So this is the internal structure of the leaf. Upper epidermis, lower epidermis. In between, the mesophyll tissue. Mesophyll tissue is divided into two parts. One is the palisade, the elongated ones are palisade. Loosely arranged chlorenchyma cells, they are called the spongy parenchyma. And if you notice carefully, you will see wherever I have drawn these guard cells, the stomata, inside there is a cavity. Can you see this cavity here? So these are the openings, they are like windows. They connect the atmosphere with the mesophyll part of the cell. Inside the air cavities, outside the atmosphere. And through these openings only the exchange of gases or giving out of the excess of water will all take place. Simple. So this is, you have to remember, because you have to know the position of the stomata. And the most important thing is, can you see, have I drawn chlorophyll here? I haven't drawn chlorophyll in the epidermal cells. But I have drawn chlorophyll, the chloroplast in the guard cells. That's very, very important. You have to remember all these 3 points, different points that I'll write it later on. So upper epidermis, parenchymatous cells, lower epidermis, parenchymatous cells, they do not have the chloroplast. Only the guard cells protecting the inside holding the stomata within themselves, they are present in the lower epidermis and they are green because they contain the chloroplast. Mesophyll tissue, completely all the cells have the chlorophyll or chloroplast, because that's the most important thing. Chlorophyll only absorbs the light energy. Without chlorophyll, there will be no food, no energy taken and no function of photosynthesis. So what happens? The chlorophyll is very important and all the mesophyll tissue will have the chloroplast containing the pigment chlorophyll. What is the most important thing you will remember? Epidermal cells do not have the chloroplast, whereas the guard cells, they contain the chloroplast. Clear? That's a very, very important thing. Keep it in mind. Is that clear? I hope it's clear to you. You'll practice the diagram. I'll be sending to you and the diagram also. You see it and you practice it. So the new terms you have to learn. Upper epidermis, palisade, spongy parenchyma, mesophyll, lower epidermis, guard cells and stomata. Right? So this is the internal structure of the leaf. When you cut a section of the leaf, the vertical section, and we see it under the microscope, this is the structure we see. And the leaf cells are all green. So all these cells, all the cells of the leaf, if I ask you, do all the cells of the leaf have chlorophyll, chloroplast? No. Why? Because the epidermal cells do not contain chloroplast, only the mesophyll tissue and the guard cells contain the chloroplast. You have to remember this very clearly. For when we follow up the other points, you will have to think about it again. Clear? So that's the first part. Now second part we do about stomata. After we finish this, then the photosynthesis will be more clear to you. You have done the basic thing, but you have to do it in little detail also. So for that, this is necessary. Stomata. What is stomata? What are stomata? They are the openings. Where are they present? Just now we have done in between the lower epidermal cells. What is the importance? They connect the atmosphere along with the internal part of the leaf. Through them only exchange of gases take place. Whatever carbon dioxide is needed will be absorbed through them, and the extra water in the leaf will also be given out through them. But the stomata are very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Now very peculiar. You know, we say stomata are open during the daytime and they are closed at night. Isn't it interesting? It's a hole. The two guard cells sort of controlling that hole, and during the daytime they are open, and at night what happens? They close that. Like we close the windows at night. We open them in the morning. It's exactly like that. How it is done, who does it, what is the part played by the guard cells, that's what we are going to learn now. Now, suppose I give you a surface view. Suppose this is a leaf. Suppose imagine this is a leaf. From the lower part we are seeing the surface. First we did the vertical section. Now I am just drawing a diagram to show you the surface of the leaf. So suppose these are all epidermal cell. In between, we have just seen in between the, I'll just draw one only. Like if you take the whole lamina, suppose you take the whole lamina will have the sort of epidermal cell, and in between the stomata will be present. So I've just drawn one. What is the important thing we have just learned? Yes, guard cells have the chloroplast. Other than the nucleus and vacuole and all the other plant cell characteristics, but they do not have this chloroplast. Very, very important point to remember. Chloroplast. Second point, this shape of the cell is very important. It's a bean shaped or kidney shaped. It's not straight, it's not round, it's not rectangular. The shape of the cell is very, very important. It plays a role in the opening and closing of the stomata. So first point is chloroplast. Second point, you have to see the shape. What is the shape? Bean or kidney shaped. Third point, the inner wall of this guard cell. This one is the inner wall, is quite thick. Cell wall is thick, whereas the outer wall is very thin and membranous. Another important point. So, inner wall of guard cells thick, whereas the outer wall is 3 points. What are the 3 points? One is the shape. Second, containing chloroplast, whereas the neighboring cells do not contain chloroplast. And third one is the wall of the kidney, this bean-shaped cells, the guard cells. Inner wall is thicker and outer wall is, this one is thin and this is thick. Right? Now, this is the structure of the stomata. What is the stomata? Which part is stomata? The cell is not the stomata. The opening in between is stomata. Singular we call stoma, plural is stomata. So the opening in between is called the stoma or stomata, which is surrounded by two bean-shaped cells. What are these two cells called? Guard cells, because they are the ones which guarding, guard cells. Now what is the very important thing? These neighboring cells do not have chloroplast, but the guard cells contain the chloroplast. And the third point, they have got the inner wall thick and outer wall thin. These 3 points are the reason, they are the reason for opening and closing of stomata. Now it's like a story, very interesting. What happens? During the daytime, what do the green cells do? Prepare food. So the guard cells will also prepare food, right? But the epidermal cells, will they prepare food? No. Why? Because they do not have chlorophyll. They don't have chlorophyll, they cannot absorb the light energy, they cannot carry out the process. So this difference, they are making the food. Now once the food is prepared, what will happen to the concentration of the cells up inside? What will happen? They will swell up, they'll become thicker or not. It's just like you take raisin. I'll give you one example. You take raisins. You eat raisins. When you soak the raisins in water, what do you see after a few hours? What has happened? They have swollen. Why they have swollen? Because they have taken the water. But the same raisin, same one, if you put it into a sugar solution, thick solution, what will happen? What will happen? Now inside is the concentration is less, the solution, it's more watery because it has taken water. But when you put it into the thick sugar solution, again the water will go out and the raisin will become again into its previous shape. Exactly like that. Here the guard cells during the daytime, what are they doing? They are preparing food. Once they prepare food, what will happen? The concentration of the cell saps. You know what is cell sap? Inside the vacuole, the liquid, you have done it. The cell sap, the concentration of the liquid inside, because of the food, it becomes what? It becomes much more concentrated. It's concentrated comparing to these cells. They are still watery, no food has been prepared. And here it's become thicker. So when they become thicker, what happens? A process you have learnt in chemistry, diffusion, movement of particles from low to high concentration. So what happens? This is thick, inside very thick solution, and here it is less solution, this is more watery. So water comes in from the neighboring cells. Because diffusion is the process from low concentration to high concentration, the water will move. So water passes in from here to here. So now you have got this cell, you are injecting water into that. So what will happen to the cell? It will grow, it will stretch, because like a balloon. When you blow the balloon, more you blow, what happens? It's become bigger and bigger. So same way, these two guard cells, when they have made the food, the concentration has become very thick. So from the neighboring cells all around, water rushes in. As the water rushes in, it starts swelling. Now we go back to these 3 points. When it starts swelling, which way the pressure will be more, on the thick wall or on the thin wall? Guess. Which side the pressure will be more? Obviously on the thin wall. So which way it will start moving out? So it starts bulging out from which side? To the outer side. What's the reason? Because the pressure is same. This is thick wall, this is thin wall. So it's stretching towards outsides. And what is the shape? What is the shape? Bean shaped. So what is happening when it is stretching on outer side? What is happening gradually? It becomes like that, swells up and stretch out. And so what happens in the center? What appears in the center? The hole appears in the center. So we say stomata are open during daytime. And this state of the cell which is stretched out, that is called the turgid. Turgid means swollen cell. Food is prepared and the stomata are open during the daytime, right? Now what happens once the food is stopped? Food making is stopped. What will happen? Because you know food is prepared and is stored in form of starch. And it distributed by the phloem cells. Again, it is converted back to sugar and given out. So now the food is being given out. So now what will happen when the photosynthesis has stopped? Food is now, instead of coming, food is being given out. So what is happening to the concentration? Concentration, what is happening? Solid, the food is given out. So more watery, it becomes to its original thing. It becomes more watery. Low concentration, it happens. So when it becomes low concentrated, what will happen? There's no more stretching. So what will happen to the gut cells? They come closer. And what has happened? They have opened or they have closed? They have closed. And so this is called the flaccid. So two things. One is flaccid, the other is turgid. So turgidity and flaccidity, the two things, the turgidity and flaccidity, this is the reason for opening and closing of stomata. Quickly, I will just, before I end up my lesson, quickly I'll give you the points. What is the reason for the opening and closing of stomata? Turgidity and flaccidity. What is turgidity? The swelling up of the cells after the formation of the food and absorbing water from the neighboring cells. What is flaccidity? After giving out of the food to all the parts of the body, the water is being given out, the water now goes out and then it becomes into smaller size again, back to their normal size again. So turgidity and flaccidity. What is the reason for turgidity and flaccidity? Photosynthesis. Because food is prepared. And what is the reason of this opening and closing? The three things always remember: shape of the cell, inner wall thicker, outer wall thinner. So the force, the pressure is on the outer wall, and because of the shape it opens, stretch outwards. So the opening appears in the center. Clear? So go through, when you are seeing the video, along with the video, keep the paper along with you that I'll be sending to you. And you read, today you have got little more to learn, quite a few points you have to learn which are new to you. Don't get scared, it's very simple. Go through the points, go see the video and you will understand yourself. If you do not understand, no problem, we can do that again, you can ask the questions. Clear? So for today, only this much. And take your time, read and also enjoy your holidays, both together, studying and enjoying, both go together, okay? Bye for today.